In the 5th month after our breakup, Xiao-Qi and I ran into each other in the maternity ward of the hospital. I was wearing a loose maternity dress, my hair a mess. He was impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, with a beautiful, delicate fiancée standing at his side. Xiao-Qi. Do you know each other? The woman tugged at his sleeve. His indifferent gaze slid past me and landed on the man behind me holding the prenatal checkup report. I don't know her, Xiao-Qi said coldly. He held his fiancée in his arms and brushed past me. Later. My electric bike sideswiped his luxury car on the street. He looked at my protruding pregnant belly with unhidden disgust. Where is your husband? Have him come and talk to me about compensation. I clutched my bleeding wrist. Lost and at a complete loss. I haven't even gotten married. Where would I get a husband? After I got pregnant. My eyesight deteriorated day by day. I could be walking along the roadside and still get knocked over by an electric bike riding straight toward me. When the man saw that I was pregnant, he panicked, even after I said I was fine. He still insisted on taking me to the hospital for a checkup. He was very kind. Once we got to the hospital, he handled the registration, the blood draw, the tests running back and forth on my behalf until he was sweating from head to toe. Even the pregnant woman beside us couldn't help teasing. Your husband is really good to you. I hurried to explain. He's not my husband. He accidentally bumped into me and brought me here for a checkup. Where's the father of the child? The pregnant woman asked, sounding a little puzzled. At a time like this, you really need your husband by your side. Otherwise, if something really happened, it would be a real problem. At the mention of the child's father, my heart suddenly sank. Xiao-Qi. Since we broke up, I had never seen him again. They had always been people from two different worlds. Now each had returned to their rightful place. That was fine. And yet sometimes, the world was just that small. I had just turned away after taking the lab report. He ran straight into Xiao-Qi Heiden. My vision is good some days and bad on others. And yet, at this very moment, my sight was astonishingly clear. He was wearing a well-tailored suit, which made his tall figure look even more slender. Aside from having grown a little thinner, his features were as handsome as ever. The woman linked to his arm had delicate looks and a gentle, graceful air. She was dressed exquisitely from her gown down to a single strand of hair. Meanwhile, my loose maternity dress was stained with grime. Her hair was also disheveled from the fall. I had seen reports online about her marriage alliance with Xiao-Qi. I knew she was the heiress of the Shin Group. Shinzi. She and I had always been worlds apart. Following Xiao-Qi's gaze, Shinzi noticed me. She looked me up and down, a slight frown creasing her brow. She tugged at Xiao-Qi's sleeve, her tone gentle. Xiao-Qi. Who's this? Do you know them? I froze in place, my legs feeling as if they were filled with lead, unable to move. I wanted to speak up and greet them casually and with ease, to compliment them as a perfect match. A handsome man and a beautiful woman. Yet my throat was so bitter and raw that no sound could come out. Xiao-Qi was also silent, with a detached expression. He shifted his gaze to the man standing behind me. The man who had bumped into me was now holding a stack of receipts, calculating the price. I was so embarrassed and awkward that I wanted to flee in disgrace. I was afraid he would say anything that would humiliate me. Yet Xiao-Qi merely gave a faint reply. No. Then he held Shinzi around the waist and brushed past me shoulder to shoulder. Like straw. Ingers who had never known each other. No one could have told that Xiao-Qi and I had once loved each other so fiercely, so passionately. We were high school classmates, in the same class and at the same desk. Xiao-Qi came from a good family and was exceptionally handsome. There were many girls at school who pursued him. Some sent love letters. Some confessed their feelings. Xiao-Qi never seemed to tire of it. He hired me to play his girlfriend and ward off unwanted admirers. The pay was generous, and I was indeed short on money. So Xiao-Qi and I hit it off immediately. After school every day, all I had to do was pretend to be on a date with him. He really liked the dessert shop near the school. Every time. We ordered 2 small cakes. Just to keep up appearances. He doesn't eat it. He gives it all to me. He sits nearby and reads. Thanks to him, I've been able to eat my fill every night, and I've had a quiet place to study and do my homework. Our collaboration was very pleasant. He found peace and quiet, while I used the income to pay my college tuition smoothly. Perhaps it was a coincidence. We enrolled in the same university for college, though they were in different majors. The teaching buildings weren't far apart. He was still very popular with girls. I, too, had admirers. When Xiaoqi proposed collaborating again, I turned him down. Because I also wanted to experience what it felt like to be in love. I understood my own situation clearly. Once you graduate, matters of love and romance cease to be quite so pure. Your family background, your job, your income, all of it becomes part of what others take into consideration. After Xiaoqi learned the reason, he still convinced me. He said he could let me experience what it felt like to be in love, and still pay me. That really was the best of both worlds. So once again, we hit it off at once. Xiaoqi and I began dating like any ordinary couple at university. Holding hands, eating together, going to the movies. At first, I didn't feel much like I was in love. I felt it was no different from pretending to be a couple back in high school. Until Christmas in my sophomore year. My dorm and Xiaoqi's dorm had a joint get-together. The game we played was Truth or Dare. Xiaoqi drew a dare. He had to share a passionate kiss with the opposite sex present. In the eyes of our classmates, he and I were a couple, so naturally we were teased. When Xiaoqi leaned closer, he whispered softly in my ear, "Is that okay? If you mind, I can accept the punishment too." His warm breath brushed away at my ear. A faint, tingling sensation spread over me. I clenched the hem of my clothes and nodded nervously. When the soft warmth of his lips came against mine, my heart seemed to skip a beat. The chairs in my ears seemed to drift near and far. Xiaoqi's large hand cradled the back of my head, drawing me toward him with just the right amount of pressure. The tip of his tongue gently pried open the barrier of my teeth. The temperature around us suddenly rose, and my heartbeat began to quicken. This kiss was even more immersive and lingering than I had imagined. The relationship between him and me, it also seemed to begin changing from this kiss onward. The wall between us, known as a sense of boundaries, had disappeared. Xiaoqi began kissing me whenever he pleased, while we were chatting, while reading, while walking hand in hand. Even if we hadn't seen each other for just a few classes, he still had to take me to an empty corner. He kissed from my forehead to the tip of my nose, then to my lips. I pushed him away, breathing lightly and unevenly. Xiaoqi, are we? Whenever I came to my senses from the haze and wanted to sort out the nature of our relationship with him, they would all be thrown off by his domineering kisses. He kissed me. His confession muffled and indistinct. Xiaoqi said he had long wanted to kiss me. Ever since the first time he saw me, he endured it for 4 whole years. Back in high school, he had wanted to confess, but I always had the air of someone no strangers should come near. He was afraid that if he failed, he'd lose his chance forever, so he could only use a fake relationship as a cover. After college, I had meant to confess to him seriously, but I still acted as if I wanted to keep him at arm's length. Even though we'd spent 3 years together in high school, I still came across as cold and distant, as if I didn't know him all that well. Xiaoqi retreated again. He was afraid that if he failed, he would even lose the friendship. But how could I not like him? He was so dazzling, as pure and bright as the moon among the clouds. I had simply never dared to imagine that anything or anyone so beautiful could ever belong to me. After we confirmed our feelings for each other, Xiaoqi and I quickly plunged into a passionate relationship. No more careful touches. No more tentative tests. We gave each other the most complete version of ourselves. After graduation, Xiaoqi went to intern at his family's company. I also found a job not far from him. Our relationship was discovered by Xiaoqi's parents. He was the only son of the Xiao family. Our family backgrounds and social standing were as far apart as clouds and mud. I couldn't win over his family. And for my sake, he was willing to give up everything and defy the Xiao family. Mr. Xiao deliberately suppressed him, and after Xiaoqi left the Xiao group, he couldn't even find a proper job. I was also fired one after another by the companies I had applied to. Even so, he still refused to yield. The Oncessa spoiled him began braving bitter winds and scorching heat to deliver takeout. Those days were hard, but we were happy. It felt as if, at last, I could truly feel the warmth of home. No shouting or insults. No cold, lifeless stove and kitchen. Xiaoqi went out to work every day, and I stayed home to clean and cook, even if it was just a bowl of noodles. I made sure that by the time Xiaoqi held it in his hands, it was still steaming hot. At night, we lay together in bed, clinging to each other, talking from the heart and being affectionate. It was as if, so long as we held each other in our arms, all difficulties could fade away into nothing. Unfortunately, such happiness did not last long. Day by day, time slipped away. I could see the eyes of Xiaoqi, once brilliant as a galaxy of stars. Little by little, their light dimmed, until they were filled with exhaustion. When we lay in bed hand in hand and talked, he often couldn't get through more than a couple of sentences before, exhausted, he would fall into a deep sleep. I stroked the palm of his hand, a hand that had once been more delicate than a woman's. Now it was covered with thick calluses. So when Xiaoqi's mother found our rental apartment, I didn't heed Xiaoqi's advice and hide away. In the shabby little room, I dug out some loose tea leaves and brewed her a cup of tea. Those loose tea leaves were what Xiaoqi usually used to keep himself awake. Xiaoqi's mother did not show the slightest look of dislike. She accepted the tea and kindly said thank you. Though she was a wealthy lady, she was nothing like the haughty, condescending image often seen in film and television dramas. On the contrary, she was gentle and composed, and even when speaking, her words fell like a soft spring rain. She said, "Ji He, you are a good girl. This little room has been cleaned so nicely by you. It's very neat, very warm. Auntie can see that you and Ichi truly love each other. If I could make the decision, I would certainly bring you two together." She paused, letting out a faint sigh. Although Xiaoqi is the only legitimate son, his father has no telling how many illegitimate children outside. Once Xiaoqi is abandoned by his father, he'll truly go from a heaven-blessed favorite to mud everyone can step on. As a mother, I saw Xiaoqi's love for you. But what about you, Ji He? Do you really love him? Xiaoqi's mother's words left me utterly ashamed. It made me realize how selfish I was. In February, the weather was warm one moment and cold the next. Even while wearing a padded coat and sitting in her room without heating, I was still sweating. I had once thought that love could overcome any hardship. Only then did I realize that my love had merely dragged a bright moon down into filthy water. I decided to let go, to return the moon to the night sky. I gave up the apartment, blocked every way he could contact me, and hid away. But Xiaoqi still found me, with reddened eyes. He asked me why I had given up. I asked him in return, without the Xiao family, if I'm with you, what can you give me? A comfortable life, or a promising future? I looked at him coldly, his stunned expression reflected in my eyes. My tone calm. Xiaoqi, I don't want to keep pretending anymore. I thought that if I could hook you, I'd be able to defy fate and change my life, to cross the class divide. I never thought it would be this hard. Xiaoqi, let me go. I want to take advantage of being young, while I still have a little beauty left. Find someone to marry who comes from a better family than mine. Have children early, and live a good life. I watched the light in Xiaoqi's eyes dim little by little. He spoke, his voice hoarse. Were you with me for the Xiao family's money? I let out a cold laugh. What else? If you don't have money, we won't even begin. Isn't that what you know best? Only the well-born produce romantics. Someone of my background has to fight with everything they've got just to stay alive. How could you possibly expect me to have any real feelings for you? Even though I had already said every humiliating word there was to say. Shao-Chi still moved closer. Humbled and lowly, his large hand closed around my wrist. Ji-he, give me just a little more time. Without the Shao family's money, I can still make sure you live a good life. I held back from looking at Shao-Chi's wounded, disappointed expression. I shook off his hand and kept mocking him. I don't want to wait anymore. In days without money, even love is left with nothing but embarrassment. When you held me, all I could smell was sweat. In a rental with no soundproofing. I didn't even dare make a sound. Shao-Chi, how about you go back and be your young master? Accept the wife your family arranged for you, the one who is a suitable match. If you really like me that much, I can be your mistress. Having both money and love, what's wrong with that? At that instant, all the color drained from Shao-Chi's face. Ji-he, you make me feel sick. With trembling hands, he pulled the silver plain ring from his finger and threw it to the ground. I hope you get the life you want soon. As Shao-Chi drove away, I crouched down, picked up the silver ring stained with mud, murmuring through tears. I wish you a bright and promising future as well. I found out I was pregnant half a month after we broke up. My periods have always been irregular, but not having come for 2 months was indeed a little unusual. Only after going to the hospital for an examination did I learn that I was already 7 weeks pregnant. I couldn't bear to have the child aborted. And it wasn't only because of Shao-Chi. I still have many relatives in this world. But there is no one left who loves me. There are many kinds of love in this world. Yet only a child's love for their parents is the most selfless, the most pure. It was an instinct that did not bother with gains or losses. Because of that selfish motive, I kept the child. In the early stages of pregnancy, I could move around easily, and there were many light part-time jobs I could do. My material desires were not high. While taking care of myself, I also managed. I could still save up some money. By the 4th month of pregnancy, her vision suddenly began to deteriorate. Sometimes everything before her would blur into a haze, making even simple, unhurried movement impossible. The doctor said it was due to the pregnancy hormones, and that it might only get worse as the pregnancy progressed. It's possible it will recover after childbirth, but it might not, and surgery may be required. So before giving birth, I want to save as much money as possible. After leaving the hospital, I ran into my man. Before he left, he pressed 1,000 yuan into my hand. He said, "You're so young, and now that you're pregnant, no one's looking after you. That's really pitiful. From now on, when you're walking, be a little more careful." After thanking him, I accepted it. When people are in dire straits, there's no need to forego money just to save face. After that day, life went on as usual. When my vision was good, I went out to take on part-time jobs. When it was bad, I stayed home and took on some copywriting work. Perhaps fate had yet to run its course. In just 10 short days, Shao-Chi and I met again. My electric scooter scraped against his Maybach. While turning right on the bike, my vision suddenly worsened. This time, I could barely see anything at all. I fell over with the scooter. From the sound of it, the electric scooter's handlebars must have scraped and scratched the car door. Fortunately, when I went down, I managed to brace myself with my hands against the ground. My stomach was fine, but my wrist was scraped raw, burning with pain. I knew the injury to my wrist was no light one. Warm liquid kept gushing out. I hadn't even realized it was Shao-Chi I had collided with. With no time to tend to the wound, I could only clutch it tightly with my hand. I didn't even know where the person was. I could only bow over and over in apology toward a blurred figure. Only when Shao-Chi spoke did I hear him ask, "Where is your husband?" Hearing his voice, I froze, my whole body stiffening. I had never thought that after breaking up. Every time I saw Xiaoqi again, I would be more and more embarrassed. My husband. I thought he had mistaken the man who knocked me down that day for my husband. That's fine too. Might as well let the mistake stand. He's very busy. At work. Xiaoqi laughed in fury. After 3 years together, I knew all too well that this was the harbinger of his anger. Work. He works that hard, and still can't make any money. He even made you come out pregnant and hand out flyers. I figured the flyers scattered out of my bike basket and caught Xiaoqi's eye. Call him now. Have him come over and discuss compensation with me. Yes. Back when we were living in that rented room. When life was hard and the days were lean, Xiaoqi couldn't even bear to let me go out and work. He said he could make money and support me. He was indeed very smart and able to endure hardship, even delivering takeout. He could earn a little more than others. He would spend time studying routes, and even complicated maps would quickly be memorized. The orders he sent were more numerous and faster than anyone else's. As soon as he made money, he transferred it to me first. The cheesiest thing he said most often on WeChat every day was, "Gee, if you want something, just buy it. Buy more delicious food and put on some weight. You're too thin. It hurts to hold you. Don't try to save money for your husband." Thinking of the past, my eyes stung with heat, and I was afraid I would start crying in front of him. I could only hurriedly fumble for my phone. How much will it cost to fix the car? I'll pay for it. Let's settle this privately. I'm in a hurry. I heard Xiaoqi let out a scoff. There was helplessness, and perhaps also mockery. This is the life you wanted. I clutched my phone, my cheeks burning hot, not knowing how to respond. Suddenly, my vision sharpened, and I saw Xiaoqi's gaze fall on my pregnant belly. In the depths of his eyes, there was unmistakable disgust. Fortunately, Shenzi in the front passenger seat got out of the car and walked over in time. She affectionately looped her arm through Xiaoqi's. "Achi, what's wrong with you today?" Shenzi's tone was gentle, laced with a coquettish plea. "My life is already hard enough as it is. Do you have to be so petty? It's only a tiny scrape of paint. It won't cost much to fix. Why don't we just let it go?" With his fiancée gently coaxing him, Xiaoqi's expression finally softened a little. He gave a slight nod and pulled his arm back, as if he had no desire to tangle with me any further. Xiaoqi turned and sat back into the car. Shenzi looked at me with a light smile, her eyes brightening. "It's you. I think we met in the hospital. You're pregnant, so you really should rest properly at home. There's no need to rush into making money right now." Her voice was very pleasant, like a clear spring gently flowing across the tip of one's heart. Beautiful and kind-hearted. She even remembered to help me lift the bike upright. "Be careful when you ride, okay? Not just for yourself, and for the baby in your belly too." I let go and reached for the bike, but the wound on my wrist was still bleeding. A drop fell to the ground, splashing into a bloom of blood. Shenzi cried out in alarm. "Ah, your wound is still bleeding." She turned back to look at Xiaoqi. "Ah, Qi. How about we take her to the hospital?" Xiaoqi glanced over, his eyes falling on my wound. I hurriedly covered it up. "It's nothing. Just a minor injury. I'll go back and bandage it up, and that'll be fine." Xiaoqi averted his gaze and said flatly to Shenzi, "Get in the car." Qin Jiyun turned back, a faint, almost imperceptible smile tugging at the corners of her lips. "Sorry. My fiancé is a little germophobic." She turned and got into the car, her hair brushing past with a faint, delicate fragrance. Honestly, I'm really happy for Xiaoqi. Someone as wonderful as him deserves an exceptionally good woman to match him. Yet Xiaoqi's car still didn't start. He leaned forward slightly, looking past Shenzi at me. "Get in." I was a little surprised, and Shenxian's gaze at Xiaoqi was also tinged with bewilderment. I hurriedly waved my hands. "No need. I can manage on my own." Xiaoqi cut him off impatiently. Go to the hospital for an examination. So there won't be any disputes later. So that was what he was worried about. Don't worry. I'm already very grateful that you're not asking me to pay compensation. How could I possibly extort you? After saying that, I gave them a slight bow. Then I got on my electric bike and practically fled in panic. That night, after I got home, I cleaned and bandaged the wound on my wrist. The bedroom door was knocked on. When the door was opened, a strong smell of alcohol rushed in. Xiaoqi was standing right outside. He stood tall and straight, already restored to his former radiance. The blinding light looked utterly out of place against the long, tube-like apartment building. I was a little dazed and asked him, "What are you doing here?" His eyes were dark, and his voice was cold. "I'm not here to see you. I'm here to see your husband." Without waiting for me to nod, Xiaoqi sidestepped and entered the door. After glancing around the surroundings, his handsome brows furrowed. "Where is he?" I lowered my eyes, my voice faint. "He's working overtime. Call him and tell him to come back." Xiaoqi sat down on the sofa, his chest rising and falling as he held his emotions in check. Of course, I had no husband to play along with me, and I had even less desire to reminisce with Xiaoqi when I was in such a wretched state. I clenched my fists. "What are you looking for him for? If it's for compensating the cost of repairs, I can transfer the money to you right now. If not, you can leave now. As former lovers, now you have a fiancé, and I have a husband. We're not the kind of relationship where we can sit together and have a calm, peaceful chat." I pulled the door open and lifted a hand, politely showing him out. Xiaoqi stood up, strode over, and shoved the door shut. "What am I here to do?" "You're really defending him. I've come to ask your dear husband a few questions. Ask him whether the hell he's even a man, making his pregnant wife go out and work." He yanked open his collar irritably and paced with his hands on his hips to ease his anger. "Gee, didn't you say you were going to use your looks to find a good man to marry? So this is the man you found. How long has it been since we broke up? And you're already carrying his child. Would you die without a man?" Xiaoqi's words made my breath catch. My mind went completely blank, and a sour sting surged into my nose. I raised my hand and slapped him across the face. His face was knocked to one side. My hand also froze in midair. I had never imagined that I would ever lay a hand on the only person who had truly cherished me. I had never imagined, either, that he would hurl such vile words at me. Looking at me again, Xiaoqi's eyes were full of remorse and self-reproach. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." He pulled me into his arms, his arms tightening firmly around my shoulders. I couldn't break free. I could only let him bury his face in the crook of my neck. Again and again, he murmured his apologies. Xiaoqi had fallen asleep in my arms. It took me a great deal of effort to help him onto the bed. I sat by the bedside, gazing at his sleeping face. He had grown thin, even thinner than he had been 5 months ago. His jawline had grown even sharper, and his brows and eyes were tinged with a cold indifference. I still preferred the old Xiaoqi, because I knew all too clearly that the Xiaoqi of now did not belong to me. His phone kept ringing over and over. Every call was from Shin Jiyun. I couldn't answer, and I couldn't let Xiaoqi stay the night, a resolve I had only just managed to make. A hard-won peace, each of us finally living our own lives. After hesitating for a long while, I still dialed Xiaoqi's mother. She soon came with people to take Xiaoqi away. Before leaving, her gaze lingered on my pregnant belly. I was already rather thin, and even my belly was smaller than that of others at the same stage of pregnancy. It might not even have been possible to tell my gestational age at a glance. For a long while, she only exchanged a couple of polite words with me. "Have you been doing well lately? If you need money, you can ask me. Don't go looking for Xiaoqi," I replied. "Don't worry. I won't take the initiative to look for him." Zhao's mother nodded and asked again, "How did Xiaoqi fall asleep?" He must have drunk a lot before he came here. Did he do anything else? Xiao Mu's eyes and brows were filled with suspicion. I felt offended and gently rubbed my pregnant belly. I'm pregnant, Mrs. Xiao waved her hand. Don't misunderstand. Xiao Qi he. She paused for a moment. He hasn't been sleeping very well lately. I was just asking casually. Xiao's mother patted my shoulder, her tone polite yet distant. You did very well. But if there is a next time, I suggest you don't open the door for Xiao Qi. The Shin family's little girl has a narrow mind and loves to be suspicious. An intolerance for others. After she finished speaking, her gaze fell once again on my stomach. Take good care of yourself. After Madame Xiao left that night, I dreamed of Xiao Qi again. The only difference was that it was no longer just him and me in the dream. Chen Zi was there too. As Xiao Qi and I were fooling around in that rented room, Chen Zi pushed the door open and came in. She wept pitifully, asking Xiao Qi why he had done something to wrong her. She accused me of interfering in her relationship with Xiao Qi, of being a despicable third party. I woke from the dream, drenched head to toe in cold sweat. Those awkward labels, mistress. The other woman appeared countless times throughout my childhood. My mother was the other woman. She always complained that heaven had given her a beautiful face, but not a good birth. So not long after I was born, she had an affair with a small-time boss. When the man's wife came to our door, I was only 3 years old. I cried until my heart felt torn apart, watching the first wife rip at her clothes and hair, spitting at her, calling her a homewrecker, a seductress. My father found out about the disgraceful thing she had done, yet he couldn't bear to divorce her. He was both enamored of my mother's beauty and disgusted that she had cuckolded him. He cursed at her even more viciously than an outsider would have. Whore, slut. I heard those words almost every day. The husband and wife were entangled in their own knots of love, hatred, and vengeance. As for me, his daughter, there was neither guilt nor love. Perhaps because of my unusual family background, my emotions had always been steady. I was indifferent toward everything, and nothing ever managed to stir my interest. Only Xiao Qi's appearance sent a faint ripple through my otherwise calm, undisturbed life. He was different from all the other boys in the class. He wouldn't cast appraising eyes over my precociously developed body, nor would he creep up with that sleazy grin and ask whether my mother was the mistress. The scent on him was always fresh and pleasant. When our G's met, there was always a faint smile on his face, neither offensive nor distant. Leaning against the headboard for a long while, I thought I should move. The lease hadn't expired yet, so I probably wouldn't get my deposit back either. The landlady looked a little regretful. She tried to persuade me to stay. Auntie really took a liking to you. Your place is cleaned up so neatly and nicely. How about this? Auntie lowers your rent a bit, and you keep staying here. I thought it over, then still declined. I knew Xiao Qi. He already knew where I lived. He would still come again. I didn't want him to know that I was still single. Even more, I didn't want him to know that the child I was carrying was his. Otherwise, the same story would play out all over again. A few days later, I had more or less finished packing my luggage. Chen Zi actually came to my door. She was wearing a moon-white long dress, her long hair slightly curled. Her manner of speaking remained just as proper and gentle as ever. Miss Ji He, may I have a word with you? The door closed, leaving only the two of us in the cramped little room. She saw the piles of luggage on the floor and looked at me with a bright, smiling face. Miss Ji He, are you getting ready to move? I nodded, and she let out a soft scoff. You should know that, if Xiao Qi wants to find you, he'll be able to no matter where you move. If Miss Ji He really wants to put an end to his hopes, then let's get married. I looked up in astonishment as she walked over to the sofa and sat down without another word. She reached out and handed me a file envelope. This is Suzhihausen form. Asian. Oh. The The gentleman who knocked you over that day. Take a look's quite a catch. A good match for you. Shinzi paused for a moment, then softly let out a few words. More than enough. The corners of her eyes lifted slightly as she smiled at me. The same gentle smile. Yet she seemed like a completely different person from the one she was in front of Xiaoqi. Seeing that I didn't open the document bag, she went on with her introduction. Mr. Su, 30 years old, divorced, single, no children. The local man has a house and a car, by the way. He's infertile, so he won't mind that you have a child. I couldn't bear to listen any longer, and I threw the file folder back at her. Miss Shen, what are you afraid of? I'm not even from the same world as you. Miss Shen, are you really that lacking in confidence? You think I, a pregnant woman, could steal Xiaoqi away? The smile on Shinzi's lips stiffened. She seemed unwilling to keep entangling herself with me any longer and simply took out a card and slapped it down on the coffee table. 1 million. If I'm not mistaken. Miss Ji He. You really need money. You don't want Xiaoqi to fall out with his family again because of you. Just take the money and do what you're supposed to do. Shinzi was right, I did. In fact, need money very badly. If time could be turned back 5 months, I would definitely have flung the card back at him with lofty disdain. But now, I looked down at my swollen pregnant belly. I wasn't afraid of hardship, but my child couldn't have to suffer along with me. I steadied mice. LF and held out my hand to Shinzi. 5 million. I have no intention of getting married, but I'll cooperate with you and play this part. Afterward, I will leave the city, so that Miss Shen will have no more worries. Shinzi's brows lifted slightly. A look of disdain in her eyes. You certainly know how to ask for the moon. She rose and brushed at her dress as if something filthy had clung to it. I'll transfer the money to you tonight. You and Mr. Su had better try to cultivate some feelings for each other. Don't let Xiaoqi see through. Ugh, the flaw. After Shinzi left, true to her word, she transferred the remaining money into my account that very night. Money had been taken, and troubles were to be dispelled. I thought about it for a long while. In the end, I took the initiative to add Su Haoxia on WeChat. Shinzi should have already paid him off in advance, so he knew better than I did what needed to be done. We met a few times and exchanged some basic information. Su Haoxia had an average build and well-proportioned features. His appearance and demeanor were both quite upright. Once he put on the suit, he looked sharp and capable. I had mentioned my standards for a spouse to Xiaoqi before. A local, with a harmonious family, good character and a decent appearance were enough. It seemed to match Su Haoxia quite well. That should also be why Xiaoqi mistook him for my husband. A few days later, Su Haoxia and I went to Xiaoqi's company of our own accord. After explaining why we were there, the receptionist made a phone call. The secretary led us to the reception room. Xiaoqi was quite busy at the moment. We waited for more than half an hour before he finally appeared. Su Haoxia stood up awkwardly, but Xiaoqi was still on the phone and merely waved him back into his seat. He ended the call and sat down on the sofa opposite us, crossing his long legs. What is it? Xiaoqi glanced at me, his expression faint, without the slightest ripple of emotion. Mr. Xiao. I'm very sorry to disturb you. Su Haoxia nodded at Xiaoqi and placed a neatly stacked bundle of banknotes on the coffee table. Continue with the lines as planned. I went back and heard it from my wife. Only then did I realize she had accidentally scraped against. Xiaoqi frowned almost imperceptibly, with no patience to let Su Haoxia finish. He waved a hand to cut her off. As for the follow-up arrangements for the car repair, I'll have my assistant coordinate with you. If there's nothing else, you may leave. Xiaoqi didn't look at us again. He rose and walked toward the door. He was so cold and indifferent that I felt asking Su Haoxia to put on this little act was somewhat unnecessary. But Su Haoxia still insisted on playing the scene through to the end. I heard from my wife T. Hat you two used to be together. Mr. Xiao. We're very happy now. Although we're not rich or powerful, Ji He and I are both very content. So, Mr. Xiao, I hope you won't disturb our lives again. Xiaoqi stopped in his tracks and turned back to look at us. His expression was composed. Indifferent. He said, before, I really did find it hard to let go. But now, seeing Ji He living the life she had wanted, I wish her well. He looked at me and gave a slight nod, smiling softly. In that smile was the quiet relief of one who has weathered 1,000 storms. It was as if the drunken lapse of that night had been nothing more than a dream of mine. The stone in my chest finally dropped, and my heart suddenly sank as well. After Xiaoqi left, Su Haoshou was somewhat puzzled. Mr. Xiao seems pretty rational. Does Miss Shen really need to go to such great lengths? I took a breath and found my voice again. A marriage alliance between wealthy families, it's only normal to be cautious. I'll have to trouble you, Mr. Su, to play your part to the end and send me back. Su Haoshou nodded with an awkward grin. Of course. If you help someone, help them all the way. If you send the Buddha all the way to the west. After leaving the reception room, I told Su Haoshou to wait for me downstairs. I went to the restroom by myself. After getting pregnant, the further along the months went, the easier it was to feel the urge to use the restroom. Once it was over, my vision blurred again. It seemed I had also begun to grasp some patterns. My eyesight was affected not only by pregnancy hormones, but also by fluctuations in my emotions. Fortunately, I had gradually grown used to it. No longer as panicked and bewildered as before, I groped my way along the wall and found the bathroom. I heard footsteps approaching. I reached out a hand and took the initiative to ask for help. Hello. I don't see very well. Could I trouble you to take me downstairs? As the blurred figure drew near, a familiar scent came with it, enveloping me. I stood frozen in place, at a loss for what to do. I felt as though heaven itself were making a joke at my expense. Let my final meeting with Xiaoqi be this humiliating as well. What happened to your eyes? Xiaoqi asked, his voice trembling slightly. I tried my best to suppress my emotions and keep my tone calm. Progesterone is affecting me. My eyesight comes and goes. It'll get better after you give birth. It's okay. I can manage the stairs myself. Just as I was about to withdraw my hand, Xiaoqi's large hand firmly took hold of it. I'll take you. Xiaoqi said nothing more. He held my hand and slowed his pace. The familiar warmth mingled together, every sense magnified to the limit. His breath so close at hand, and the same violently pounding heartbeat. It seemed as if we both understood that this would be the last stretch of road we would walk together. So Xiaoqi and I tacitly said nothing more. He saw me to the building entrance. He saw me to Su Haoshou's side. He didn't let go immediately. His palm tightened slightly, bidding me farewell. Ji He, live well. Take good care of yourself. I nodded, and before the tears could well up, I pulled my hand free from his. Life returned to calm. No one came to disturb me again. With one love etched deep into my bones, I bought myself a worry-free life for the rest of my days. Come to think of it, it was quite a bargain. Even so, when I woke from dreams in the dead of night, I still thought of Xiaoqi. I thought of those happy days in the rented apartment. But life had to go on, and what had passed would eventually become the past. I bought a plane ticket and left the city as promised. I had no intention of coming back. Before leaving, I went to see my parents. They were still the same as they had been when they were young, unable to go more than a couple of sentences before arguing, cursing, fighting, and making up. It was as though, apart from their tangled love and hatred, nothing else mattered in this world. Fine by me. They don't love me, but they don't care what I do either. What kind of life I live is entirely up to my own will. Even if they see me come back pregnant, they didn't really care either. My mother was hinting at me. Ji He, Mom gave you a beautiful face, not for you to waste it like this. Whose child you're carrying doesn't matter. But when you're looking for a husband, you've got to find a rich man. Got it. My dad snorted derisively. Don't listen to your mom's twisted nonsense. What matters most for a woman is to be obedient and know her place. Being a little poor doesn't matter, but you've got to have face. Don't take after your mother using a bit of pretty face to wreck other people's families. Living like a cheap slut. They started arguing again, and the bad memories of the past surged back once more. My stomach tightened in waves. When I left, they still didn't notice. Arriving at the airport alone, dragging my suitcase behind me, I lowered my head and glanced at my bulging belly. Fortunately, in another 5 months, I won't be alone anymore. I will give my child so much love. Make up for the portion I'm missing as well. Before boarding, Xiaoqi's mother had people stop me. She said Xiaoqi and Shenzi were about to get married. At such a crucial juncture, she didn't want any mishaps to occur. She already knew that the child in my belly was Xiaoqi's, so there was even less of a chance she would let Xiaoqi find out about it. She wanted to send me abroad, and once everything had settled, I could return to the country. She would also give me a generous reward, ensuring that the rest of my life and the child's would be free from worry. Of course, if I preferred life abroad, she could also help me with the immigration paperwork. I had no reason to refuse. After all, I was alone, and it made no difference where I went. I was sent to London by Xiaoqi's mother to wait out my pregnancy. She handled all the formalities herself, perhaps because she was mindful of the child in my belly. In addition to arranging my accommodation, she also found a Chinese auntie to take care of my daily needs. The auntie was brisk and capable, and she didn't talk much. She didn't ask many questions about me or my situation. She seemed to understand exactly what my status was, and even comforted me, saying that many wealthy people back home arranged things this way. She told me not to be too weighed down by morality, and just to enjoy life. I let out a wry, speechless laugh and couldn't be bothered to explain or argue back. Life here, compared with the hardship of the past, was fairly relaxed and comfortable, but the weather was always gloomy, oppressive enough to leave one breathless. I still prefer life back home. I think after Xiaoqi and Shenzi get married, I'll return to the country and find a small city with a slower pace of life, and live quietly with my child. I often keep up with the news back home, but unfortunately, even by the time I gave birth, there was still no news of Xiaoqi getting married. Lying on the delivery bed, as the pain of labor contractions surged through me, my vision flickered in and out of focus, sometimes blurred, sometimes clear. The midwife held my hand and encouraged me in English. I thought I must have been in so much pain that I was hallucinating. In a daze, the midwife standing beside me turned into Xiaoqi. He bent down, looking at me with tender eyes and brows. He said, "Ji-hee, pull yourself together. We'll soon have a child of our own." When the delivery room rang with the baby's piercing cries, the world before my eyes also fell into a blur. When I came to, there was no sign of Xiaoqi in the delivery room. I knew it was just my hallucination a moment ago. The midwife placed the tiny little bundle of baby into my arms. "I'm really happy for you." A wrinkled little pink bundle. Not pretty at all, yet my eyes grew wet at the corners. This is the child that belongs to Xiaoqi and me. I gave birth to a girl. I named her Jian. There was no profound meaning behind it, only the hope that she would live a life of peace, health, and smoothness. During my confinement period, the aunt took very good care of me. My eyesight had finally recovered as well. Everything was moving in a better direction. On the afternoon of my daughter's 100th day, I held her in my arms in the backyard and basked in the sun. Xiaoqi suddenly appeared before my eyes, just like in that day's hallucination. His brows and eyes were tender as he gazed at me with a smile. He reached out and held me in his arms. Then he said, "Let me hold my daughter." Before I could even come to my senses, he smoothly and naturally took Jian into his arms. Xiaoqi lowered his eyes to look at the soft, well-behaved daughter in his embrace, the corners of his lips curving slightly, and Anne's eyes and brows look more like mine. The mouth is like yours small. I stood to the side, my throat tight and sour. Emotions surging within me, and yet I still couldn't help asking him, "How did you know I was here?" "Your fiancé, Shinzi." Xiaoqi frowned and handed Jian over to the auntie. He pulled me into his arms and, displeased, bit lightly at my lower lip. "Do you have to ruin the mood at a time like this? I've done what I wanted to do." My cooperation with her naturally came to an end as well. Cooperation? What cooperation? I asked. Puzzled. Xiaoqi raised an eyebrow. "The same kind of cooperation you have with Su Haojia." Something suddenly came to mind, and he looked quite displeased. "But that kid went a little too far, calling her wife over and over. I haven't even called you that before." It was only from Xiaoqi that I learned he had gotten engaged to Shinjian. They had made it clear from the very beginning that it was a mutually beneficial partnership. In order to make Xiao father lower his guard, Xiaoqi had been promoting his own people within the company, laying the groundwork to seize control. What Shinzi wanted was very simple. After Xiaoqi became the company's actual controller, the 2% equity stake in his hands, it had originally been a win-win partnership. But Shinzi had to let wild ambitions take root. Yet it was precisely because of that Xiaoqi sensed something was off. He took in every last detail of the results Shin Shiyun had uncovered. Then he secretly arranged for his mother to send me abroad, so that he could put his mind at ease and deal with the old guard in the company, as well as his father's illegitimate son. Now that he held the real power in the company, Xiaoqi had nothing left to be wary of. His life, his marriage could make all of it his own decision. I asked him, "If you hadn't met me in the hospital, if it hadn't been for that accidental car crash, would we have missed each other just like that?" Xiaoqi shook his head. He told me very seriously, even on the day we broke up, he truly believed the cutting, heart-piercing things you said. But in his heart, he never gave up on our relationship. He was even certain that, apart from him, I would never fall in love with anyone else. He wanted to grow strong and take wing as quickly as possible, and then come back for me, but I never expected that when we met again. I was already pregnant, and the one standing behind me was also the person I had once described to him countless times as my ideal partner. That was why he lost his composure and said things he did not mean. It was only after drinking that he finally gathered the courage to knock on my door. It was also from that night that he realized my husband and my marriage might have been fake. Fortunately, fate had its way. We did not miss each other. Xiaoqi and I brought Jian back to the country. We didn't hold a wedding. Xiaoqi and I simply went and registered our marriage. But I knew the sense of security he gave me was far more dependable than any grand wedding. Xiaoqi's mother was very fond of Anan, saying she made up for the regret of never having had a daughter. As for Xiaoqi's father, I never did get to meet him. I only heard that after Xiaoqi retired, he settled in Sanya to enjoy his later years. As for Shinzi, I would occasionally run into her at gatherings. She had married an arranged husband from an equally well-matched family, still as refined and beautiful as ever, though an air of weariness would always surface inadvertently in the depths of her eyes. There was no shortage of young, ambitious girls around her husband. She always had to spend time, energy, and money to deal with them. When Xiaoqi learned that she had once used the same tactics on me, he was somewhat irritated and found her vicious. I patted Xiaoqi to comfort him. "Where is that vicious?" 5 million. She's clearly a bodhisattva. Xiaoqi, dissatisfied, pounced on me and pinned me down. "Am I only worth 5 million? Would you want 100 million now or not? You'll take it whether you want to or not."